So you don't even know.
That's true.
I have this uncle who gets really high a lot,
Uh-huh.
and he brings his dog around in his hippie van and with his friends, and they solve mysteries together. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about them. Can your dog talk?
I don't know. It's my uncle's dog. I haven't really talked to him.
That's true. Uncle's a fucking weirdo. Anyway. It's a weird dude. You do kind of look like your uncle, though. You burnt. Well, Dan, when I was a little boy, I would go out on my bike and ride around the neighborhood and play with all the neighborhood boys. And we would laugh and play and have fun, and everything was great until one day a dog showed up. And this dog was an angry dog, and it chased my friends until my friend Billy said, "No more, dog," and he whacked it on the nose with a stick.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. What does bullet head mean?
I don't know what bullet head means.
We watched a film. Oh, before, I always forget this to introduce ourselves.
No, there's no need, Dan, because
there's no need.
If you're not a dog person, you're a piece of shit. All right?
I'm a cat person and a dog person. What do you do with that?
That's no. You can't do that because they don't like each other.
Well, I am cat person, your host.
I'm dog person.
And that's dog person. And we are the Old Boys Podcast. We like to interview each other as well as watch movies.
Hello, how are
really
you today?
Strangely.
Hello.
Typically they're on Netflix, and we very much enjoy analyzing films. And today we watched a film called Bullet Head.
Yes. Dan, it's like you forgot what this show is and you're reading off of a cue card, but you've also forgot
I don't
how to
know
read.
who Dan is, by the way.
So welcome to the Old Boys Podcast, guys. That's Dan. I'm Gerard Butler, the famous actor. I played one of the dogs in this movie we're going to talk about, actually. So, yeah. It took me 6 months to transform into a dog. Yeah, real Christian Bale thing to do. It would have been funnier if I said Christian Bale, because he's known for transforming himself.
Well,
But
I
hey,
mean,
you
I
know
feel
what?
like Gerard Butler has a little bit of method in him. Maybe just a bit.
And I like saying Gerard Butler. It's fun. He seems like a fun guy.
Gerard is a really fun name to say, and Butler has butt in it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Now you're on the same page. Oh, we like to have fun here. And I hope you'll stay and have fun with us, too. Oh. So, Dan, what the fuck is this movie we
Again,
watched?
cat person, please.
We watch films here, right? And we review them. We know that. We saw Bullet Head. What the fuck? What is this?
Bullet Head is...
What is it? What is this movie?
It's like... It's the aftermath of a heist film in which they seek refuge.
So we missed all the good parts then.
And all the criminals, they seek refuge in this warehouse.
Warehouse.
Where, Antonio Banderas, like...
Banderas. You didn't say it right.
Banderas.
Banderas.
See, what's interesting about this film is it's a documentary, right? And
Yeah.
this is a day in the life of Antonio Banderas's day job. So we find out that he is I mean, I kind of knew this already if you really do a lot of research on him, but he organizes dog fighting.
Yes, illegal dogfighting. Yes, he
Illegal
loves it.
dog
It's his
fighting,
passion.
yes. I feel like this is slander, but maybe you shouldn't fight dogs, Antonio Banderas. Maybe.
Banderas.
Anthony Bernandez.
Anthony Bernandez, listen. This is all real, so you can't sue us. Okay, thank you.
So yeah, these three criminals played by Rory Culkin, Adrien, Brody, and John Malkovich. It's like three different generations of criminals too. It's very strange.
Yeah, that is, you're right.
And they're all seeking refuge, because they have just stolen something, like nothing worth anything, by the way. Like it's only 30,000, if that. And they are trying to lay low from the cops, waiting for their contact to get to them. And there's a dog that has just basically he won a fight, but he was out of commission. Like, it took him a long time to win that fight, and then Antonio Banderas is like, you should kill him, to his lackey. So they killed him, but the dog didn't actually die, and now the dog's like
resurrected.
It's not resurrected.
Like Jesus Christ. Oh, I mean... Actually, the dog was in a 2-on-1 match, because the dog was so strong.
And it won, but then it was just... The dog ends up not dying and starts terrorizing everyone in that warehouse.
Yeah, Cujo style.
Cujo style. And then the whole film is just them running away from the dog, trying to get the shit that they left in the other room.
That is a concise explanation of the plot, but I feel like this movie goes way further than that.
It's a character study about like
Yes.
these criminals who are reminiscing about why they do what they do. Mm-hmm. Essentially.
For like half of the movie, I was wondering, like, what is going on? Like, what's the deal with this film? What is it trying? Because it seems very preachy and it's trying to tell us something. So I'm like, what am I supposed to get from this film? And it eventually does make that clear. It just depends on, did you enjoy them, like, whatever this weird journey was going through. So, Dan, I pose to you, what is your first impression of Bullethead 2017?
It was a decent movie. It's just, it wasn't anything I was expecting. Like, the name doesn't fit it at all. I really enjoyed the acting a lot.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It made me appreciate Adrien Brody a lot more as an actor, because I never really liked him.
I'm into it. I like Rory Culkin in this too.
Yeah, Rory Culkin. Oh, man. Culkin it up.
Mm-hmm. I'm feeling the Culk.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed it?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't watch it again.
Could you recommend this to friends?
No, I wouldn't fucking recommend it.
Okay. But you wouldn't watch it again?
No, I don't think so. It was good, but it's not like good.
I think I feel the exact same way. Where I'm just like, this is not what I expected, and I'm kind of upset. But the further we go into this, I'm like, oh, this movie's kind of nice. It's not that bad.
Well, I mean, for a film that's called Bullethead, and then you open on a dog POV, and you go back to that dog POV a lot, and there's like no fucking guns or heads.
Dan, by the end of this review, I want us to be able to solve why this movie is called Bullethead.
Okay, because I fucking looked it up.
Oh, you know?
No, I don't know. I have no fucking idea. After Googling it for like 30 minutes, I'm like, what the fuck does this mean?
I don't understand either. I'm thinking maybe it's some kind of dog term, fighting term.
That's exactly when I've started to look up. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I have no fucking idea. Yeah, this movie was okay. It's a lot of really nice shots, well directed and edited. I enjoyed there's some weird shit in this movie. Some of the CGI dog stuff, I know it's probably they had to do it, you know, like it's like it was easier for them to have a CGI dog than to train one to run.
Yeah.
To do a certain thing. That was kind of lame. I loved how the dog was super powered and like Cujo magic where he could like crush through doors and like smash through fucking pianos and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And how the dog was hyper aware and like if you did a nice thing for it, like in a fairy tale of like a lion getting the
thorn in the paw, yeah.
Yeah, getting a little thorn pulled out of his paw. He's like, the dog will remember this. Like we're playing a fucking Telltale game or something. In chapter 3, he'll come back and save you, dude. You did it. So I love that goofy shit. Some of the waxing poetically about like, are you a dog lover or a cat lover? It kind of really got lost on me until I realized what the movie was. I was like, why the fuck are we talking about this? Why? And then I'm like, oh, this movie is just about dogs. It's not about the heist or anything else. It's about dogs and how they relate to people, especially these three people, and how they have affected their lives.
Right.
It's a dog-loving movie. And it's all for dogs, but it has some of the most graphic shit you'll see involving dogs. And I guess like one major thing is they're trying to raise awareness to, I don't know, some of the cruelty, I guess, towards dogs, which how are people not aware? I don't know. I guess I'll just talk about the moral, I guess, from what I understood it, is teaching an old dog new tricks, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Because they actually say that in the movie.
Yeah. That should have been the name of the movie right there.
Yeah, because I mean John Malkovich, who really he like literally they were just like, here's a wax, here's the poet script, Get to waxing poetically all over this, let's go. And he's just spouting off all these different metaphors constantly to where it almost kind of got obnoxious. But I still enjoyed it because it's John Malkovich.
Yeah.
They're just talking a lot about how dogs just do whatever because they're dogs. They don't understand property or whatever. And it's people who make the dogs bad. So it's like kind of the argument with pit bulls. Like, pit bulls can be good and they're good dogs. They just are used for dogfighting and treated
It's
poorly.
called breed discrimination, bro, and it's a real thing.
I don't know, Dan, if you know this, but sometimes in movies and film and even real life, but humans are the most evil of all.
Wow.
Because you know how like it would be like a movie with aliens and humans, and they're like, oh no, the aliens, but actually,
we're the ones that created them.
Yes, are the worst. Yeah, humans made them. Humans are the most dangerous animal of all, and that was interesting. And I also thought it was more interesting about Adrien Brody's struggle to change and him thinking it's futile and all that other stuff, and how that relates to dogs.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought it was kind of silly, but
we can't win them all. How about that? So
Danny,
before we get into this, Jared,
yes.
One time whenever I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
I owned a dog, and my brother owned a dog, and my sister owned a cat, and we went away on vacation.
I thought you were just gonna keep naming brothers and sisters who had dogs or cats.
Shut up!
Like, how many
Dude,
fucking...
this is serious, all right?
All right.
Anyway, we went away on vacation. We left them at our aunt's farm, and they got so distraught from us not being there for a week that they ran off into the wilderness to try to find us by themselves. I don't know why you're laughing. That's very rude.
Well, would you say this is like a homeward, like a bounding homeward type of thing where they...
Yeah, absolutely. That really does sound a lot like, what this story entails. Anyway, my dog almost dies because he was saving another dog. But,
okay.
This movie reminded me of it. I just thought I would get it off of my chest.
About a real story? Okay, thank you. Oh, you know what? I think it would be fun if I read a review on IMDb.
Oh, please do.
Because there was one... A lot of the bad reviews for this movie are like, this movie sucks, and they don't give any reason why it's bad, but they really fucking shit-talk the film hardcore. And I don't think it deserves that much.
No, it doesn't.
I get that people might be tricked or feel tricked because this movie does kind of like a weird Reservoir Dogs type of thing where it's like it doesn't show you all the fun action of...
Dogs.
It's Res of Dog Dogs.
Res of Dog Dogs.
Yes. But let me try to find this
Dogs
this review
of War.
Here. A lot of good reviews too. Honestly, I never trust IMDb reviews because they're just regular people, and that's the main problem with IMDb.
Well, we're regular people, and we want you to trust us.
No, I don't like regular people, and you're usually wrong. And if you're a regular person, don't review things because.
But my thing is,
sad.
we are regular people. That's my thing.
No. We're above.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We're in the upper echelon.
Silly me.
Of handsome and good looking.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe you.
Thank you. Wowee. What a nice boy. I just think we at least try to give a critique. We'll be like, hey, it's bad. And then you'll usually say, like, the reasons why. These fuckers don't care. Okay, here we go. Here is a review by Chum Griffin.
Chum?
Yep.
Chum?
December 8th of last year. A complete mess of dog poo. That is the
It's
title.
a pretty good story. I don't know.
Normally, when I see a film this badly written, badly directed, badly conceived, badly everything, I always consider the actors last. Because frankly, they are only working with the material laid in front of them, following directions, spouting lines and dialogue written by someone else, etc., etc., etc. Ellipses. So they usually get a pass. In this case, however, I have to say that Adrien Brody and John Malkovich cannot be that broke or that desperate to sign up to this absolute shamble of a project. If they have any artistic integrity or self-esteem left, then they should have jumped ship or at least fired their agent for not assuring them a get-out clause, rather than tarnish their careers with engaging in a filmmaking that belongs in the garbage bin of mediocrity. Sounds like one of our reviews. It stinks. Even when I think the band would protest at its newest resident. Do not let the trailer fool you into thinking, maybe worth a watch. You will feel conned at the end.
Oh, wow.
This is Chum Griffin signing off. A
God.
true American patriot. And it's like you read that, he's just like, fuck you to the movie, and that's it. He doesn't say why he doesn't like it. I guess he feels conned. I can understand that. But I enjoyed what this movie was trying to do, so that helped it a lot more, I think. Let it do its weird thing. And for some reason, whenever they would tell the dog if he's a good boy or not, I was always like, oh, it is a good boy. You are a good boy. And that made me happy.
Yeah, I almost wanted to warn you about like the insane dog violence in this film because it's pretty intense.
It made me think of White God, that other dog film we watched, which I think is I don't know. I always try to compare movies. I shouldn't do that.
Well, this one wasn't about the fucking dog. I'd rather watch the movie that's about the dog.
Yeah.
This was about stupid who-mans.
Who-mans are gross mans. That's what I always say.
Yeah. So let's get into some of the highlights of this film.
Let's not.
All right. What else do you want to talk about?
Oh. Just kidding. I made a joke.
Anyway, the thing I want to say is... How is it that they ended up realizing that they don't have a lot of money?
You mean budget-wise?
No, like the robbery. Like they all come to this thing, and then they come to the conclusion that they only have like $30,000.
Okay, so we got a bunch of assholes in a car.
Yes, one of them's dead.
Well, the first is we have a weird, we're calling them dog flashbacks or doggy flashbacks. Title pending. If Dan can come up with a better title than that. And it's this doggy POV, but it's like out of a fisheye lens.
So it's like a dog eye lens.
I guess it's a dog eye lens. Oh, it's a dog eye lens world out there. And what I liked about this is that at first was like, oh, I know this is a dog, but wouldn't it be funny if we imagined if this was just a guy?
Dude, no, the entire first flashback, I'm like, this better be a human being.
How amazing would that be? And I even knew they were going to lead him to a fighting ring. I already knew, like, this movie is very predictable.
Well, see, I didn't know that because the entire time I was just like, I hope this is a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then, lead him to a fighting ring that he has to fight a dog in, and the dog just fucking murders it. Oh, that'd be so good.
That's a real thing that hurts the film, I believe, is how predictable the plot is. And so you can't rely on the plot to be entertaining. You have to find other things that are interesting to you, I guess.
Adrien Brody's hair.
Yeah. Oh, his long, beautiful locks.
Or Rory Culkin.
I wish he would take me away to a sunny beach place where the waves sound like cars. And then, fuck. I'm sorry, what? So we get a little scene with Antonio Banderas, and throughout the film it cuts to Antonio, and he's like training the dog and being like mean to people, and there's a lot of that shit that happens, and it kind of feels unnecessary, but I get what they're trying. Like at first I thought they're just trying to build up the dog to how much of a badass he is, but now I really just think they were just trying to show how bad these dog fighting rings are. But like I said earlier, doesn't everyone know that except for the like monsters, like people who aren't human beings?
Yeah,
like evil monster people. So it's bizarre when a movie comes out like this. It's like dog fighting is bad. It'd be like, hey Dan,
yeah,
killing people is wrong.
Oh man,
did you know that?
No, I didn't. I mean, yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I told you. Anyways, either way. All right, bye. Maybe I'm too cynical.
Well, it reminds me of the with the film studies that I'm teaching, like something that I was going over my students today. We were talking about the production code, and then there's like the you absolutely cannot do any of these things, and there's a big list of things that you can't do, otherwise you won't get your seal of approval for the production board to distribute.
Really? Can you list some?
It's like weird things like you can't show nudity, you can't show white slavery, but any other slavery is all right. You can't show interracial marriage. You can't, like, it's a bunch of like really weird, conservative, disgusting mores that we had back in the day. But that's the don't. The interesting thing,
day.
yeah, this is back in the, like 1930 to 1954. So you
I
couldn't.
thought you meant currently. I'm
No,
like,
no, no,
what
no.
the fuck?
You can't have
You can show
childbirth. You
nudity?
can't have. There's a more interesting list that coincides with that one, which is you can do this, but be careful. And one of the most insane things that you can have in a film is rape or attempted rape. Just be careful with how you do it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yuck.
1930s Hollywood.
The golden age. If we could all go back to 1930s when everything was great for white people. Anyways.
Funny laugh. It's just the new Batman villain. He's just like...
That's what a Batman villain would say, Dan. That is what a Batman villain, like, I'm white man. Here I come.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. Let's get into this movie, man. We're going to get into it. Here we go. I'm getting into it right now.
We've been talking about it. We're halfway through the film.
I know. Are we really? It feels like we've only talked about the first scene.
That's true.
We're halfway through
Your
the
point
movie.
being... But, Dan, we're having so much fun.
We are.
And you know what? That's what the show is really about.
I know, it really is.
That and dogfighting awareness.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't need a movie to tell me that I love dogs. And
I don't either, because, you know, I had this friend one time. He had a dog who befriended a cat, and he wasn't in the picture a lot, but they went off and did their own thing for a long time, and then one of them rode a sea turtle, the other one was attacked by a bear, and then at the end of their lives, they came back together, and they found out that they made love with their correspondent.
Making things up again.
Daniel.
Work, Dad.
We're stretching the truth again, and you know it.
Don't be a fibbing friend.
Daniel.
And it was all narrated by David Attenborough.
I feel like that's a lie.
It's Milo and Otis. The joke is, Jared, thank you for editing this part out,
Dan, what are jokes?
that I'm going to keep doing this in dead air. Just talk about a movie that has to do with a dog and say it relates to my life somehow.
I love making Dan explain his jokes to me.
God.
Okay, so we cut to 4 dudes in a car. 30 minutes in, we're finally going to talk about the plot of this film. Are you guys hyped? Get fucking hyped right now.
4 dudes in a car.
For bullet head, 4 dudes in the car. Who knows what's going to happen? Oh, the car crashes. So the driver
Was shot, wasn't he?
yes,
Yeah.
but it's how it was shot was confusing because the car is just going and then it crashes into a wall and then it cuts to this dude and it's like a series
Stray
of
bullet.
kind of fast cuts and it shows like the driver's slumped over and there's bullets and I was like, did someone in the car shoot him?
Wait a minute.
Did like some kind of explosion happen
Were
and
the
kill this
bullets
guy?
in his head?
Oh my god.
Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't sound
That'd
convincing
be a
yet.
dumb reason to name
I
the
know.
movie Bullethead.
That
Just
one
name it off of
scene.
the first thing that happens in the film. That'd be so stupid.
It's not the dog's name either. I think the dog's name was DiCaprio.
Yes. Oh no, it was De Niro, dude.
Oh, De Niro. That's what it is. De Niro.
Fucking De Niro. Because apparently that was like somebody on sets. You know that little puppy at the end?
Mm-hmm.
That dog was named De Niro. So they named the big dog De Niro. I
Because of
guess.
Robert De Niro.
Well, yeah, because he's a big dog. He's everyone's big dog. Dare
He's
I
not my
say
dick.
America's big dog?
He's not my dig bog, is what I just said.
Dig
Let's
Bog.
just- Dick bog.
Dick Bog is the name you have to guess if you want me to stop cursing you. With my evil power. Your name is Dick Bog. No! Back to the Shadow Realm for me.
Do we have to review movies anymore? Can we just do this shit?
I've bested you, evil wizard.
Potion seller. All right, so
Daniel is Nick Bog spelled backwards. Holy shit. Okay. fast
driver's
forward.
dead.
Everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead. They come back to life, kill the driver again, go into the warehouse with the money. In the warehouse, the dog's roaming free because he has murdered the person who's trying to murder him.
Yes.
And then...
Well, no, I'll give an actual concise. Here we go.
That was concise.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. I mean, that's kind of rude of me to say
Just
that.
go. Just fucking go.
I feel like you're
Just
doing
go.
a great job, Dan. Dan, I just want to let you know you're doing a great job. So we got Johnny, we got Rory, we got Adrien. They're all in the car. The driver's dead. They're like, oh, fuck. And they have a safe, and they can't move the safe. I don't know why they don't bring the safe with them in the house or the warehouse. But they leave it out there, and they're outside, and there's like an overpass above them. And if somebody just looked down, they could see this fucking beat up car. So they go into this place. It's this big warehouse storage facility, and it's got like gym equipment and also the goofy shit. It's kind of fun. And they're hanging out in there, and they're like, oh, we're kind of fucked because there's too much heat, and our benefactor cannot come pick us up because we don't have wheels. And so we're kind of stuck with waiting for this pickup to happen to come save them. But they're stuck there for a day. Little do we know, well, we find out very soon, that old Rory Culkin, I want to say Malkovich for some reason, derp. The Rory character is addicted to drugs, number one. Number two, he fucked up the job by trying to rob the pharmacy near where they were robbing the safe, which caused the shootout that killed the driver. So we got Bro Dog and John Dog are screaming and barking at him, and I don't blame him, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess Rory goes, he's like, I gotta go do my drugs now.
Well, basically, for one, like, what starts it up is, like, they run away from the dog, and he leaves all the shit there.
Yeah.
So the issue is, in order to get the drugs, he has to go back into where the dog is.
Yes.
To get everything.
What a great scene, though, when he sees the dog and he is frozen in place until the other two guys show up and then they see the corpse.
Well, I liked it because, like...
Holy shit.
The way they cut it, it was like 2 parts
It's like a
of
horror
time.
movie.
Well, yeah,
and I forgot there was a dog in this film.
Because you have the guy who killed the dog, you know, running or roaming around in that locker room, and you think it's going to cut to him seeing Rory, but it's actually fast forward in time, and that guy has now died.
Yes, and you get to see him in the past going through that area because he was supposed to go put the dog down, and they do a terrible, well, I'd say terrible, it's just hard to watch, scene of trying to electrocute the dog and the dog escaping. But yeah, that guy gets fucking killed. And the rest of the film we could break down into stories about dogs, which I think is the main thing we should talk about, the different stories they tell. And asking if you're a dog or a cat person. They do this a lot in this movie. At least twice. It was kind of weird.
Who tells it first? Is it Rory that tells his first, or is he last?
He's last. Because
So
as
John
soon as he
Malkovich
tells
is
his
first.
story, he fucking kills himself.
Yeah.
Which was like, okay, Jesus.
So John Malkovich is a career criminal.
Yeah.
They're all career criminals. Like, they all get their money from doing this. They're just scumbags. They don't know any better. So
What's funny is you would think these guys would be really good at it, but like they do like the dumbest jobs.
Yeah. So
Which we'll find out.
Christmas Eve one year, John Malkovich's young self, he's duped by a
The
manager.
fish tank story.
The fish tank. Like, is it the fish tank? The pet store?
Yeah, pet store.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the pet store owner, he's like, yeah, I'll leave something in the safe and you can just get it. And then he doesn't. But he was like, I guess the implication he's going to blame it on him. So he's like, well, I'm not going to leave here empty-handed. So he grabs a tropical fish for his daughter instead of a dog. There's a dog in the story, but he'd rather have the tropical fish. I don't remember why. I don't think it's very important.
I think his kid wanted either a fish or a cat or something, and they didn't have those.
He leaves, and then he's like, well, wait a minute. Why am I just leaving with one fish? And then he goes back in, and he just starts loading up the fish tank with a bunch of different fish, and he wakes up the next morning, and all the fish have died because they're freshwater fish, and they're supposed to be in the saltwater, or they're not supposed to be in the saltwater, and he got a saltwater tank. But what I was thinking was, like, he got a fish that does not play well with others, because that's a more horrifying thing. Yes,
that would have been a more apt narrative for that. for this parable or whatever he's trying to
Yeah,
tell.
exactly. And that's what I thought, because
Like a fighting fish or
a
something?
fighting fish, but like not just fighting fish do that, but they will murder other fish, and it looks horrifying. Like just fish everywhere, blood everywhere, and that would have been more traumatizing for the girl. Anyway, his girl hates him now, I think.
Yep, and now he's dead. Yes. But yeah, so I think that was the least relevant of the stories.
Yeah.
I was trying to understand what he was talking about, because at the end, they will always sum up whatever they're saying eventually. And he's like, that's when I found out that some people are freshwater and other people are saltwater. And he's like, and I'm a freshwater. And I'm like, does that mean you're going to die soon? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that was kind of really stupid to end on that.
Did the story make sense to you? Like, why they were telling it? What the deal was?
Nope.
Because the real narrative for me was how we control dogs and make them good or bad. They are not inherently good or evil, but people make them that way. So it's up to us to treat dogs in a good and kind way. So we got to step our game up, because Dan, I don't know if you know this, but humans are the most dangerous animal of all.
I didn't know that.
I think this is a new concept, and I'm going to actually do a whole movie about just that. So we have that fun story. The next story I'd like, this is story time, guys.
Truffles.
And let's talk about trouble with truffles. That's my next story.
Brody.
Yeah, Brody.
Brody.
And he's all talking about truffles, and then John Malkovich is like, mushrooms? No, truffles, you silly goose. And apparently truffles are real expensive, and he found a buyer. And the big thing was that he knows they're in a warehouse. He just doesn't know which container area. So another warehouse. And they breeze through this, but he's like, yeah, I went and spoke to this Obi-Wan Kenobi guy, and he couldn't help me. And they show this dude, and he is like exactly dressed like a Jedi. And I'm like, what is going on here? What is up with this movie? And he eventually goes and finds a guy who owns truffle hounds. And this is a story because Brody used to be a cat person. Now he's a dog person.
Yeah.
And he takes one of the dogs with him, and it was a poodle. Ha 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 ha! That's so funny. And he uses the poodle to sniff out where the truffles are hidden in the warehouse. And he finds them, but then the security guard finds them. Oh no! And for some reason, the security guard, who has a gun, runs away from the dog as soon as he sees it, because he's deathly afraid of dogs. Because apparently the security guard
is a mailman.
Yeah, doubled as a mailman. And as we all know, Dan,
they're terrified of dogs. It's like mortal enemies.
All mailmen are terrified of dogs. I'd like to think that story was made up by Adrien Brody, and he was just fucking with John Malkovich. Because it was the least believable, but also the most fun.
Didn't write it down. I should have. But Adrien Brody has like the most ridiculous line in this film.
There's a lot of silly lines. Where was it exactly? I probably have it written down.
Shit.
Like, what was the context?
I don't remember, but it was like, are you really fucking saying that right now?
There's a few times when John Malkovich would say shit, and I'm like, dude, you're laying it on a little too thick here. You gotta relax.
No, he was like referencing something. So it's like, okay, he referenced Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he references something else. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking
sometimes
about?
the references were bad. Other times, too, is when they would make fun of Rory for being a millennial, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't know what a Rolodex
do
is?
your Instagram and your Snapchat and you're taking selfies on the roof.
Yeah, I was like, oh, stop it. But yeah, there was a line where Rory is like, hey, did you guys see a bathroom around here? And John Malkovich was, he replies, have we been here longer than you? And I was like, yes, that was fucking great. I love that shit. So while that's going on, old Rory Bory is sneaking around, finding his drugs. He takes them, and there's this cool shot of like the camera kind of flips over, and it's like he's laying down on the wall. I don't know, it was neat. Yeah. And then he sees this white rabbit, and I'm like, oh, he's tripping hard. Yeah. But apparently that rabbit is actually there.
Is it real, though?
Yes, because Adrien Brody sees it.
But maybe he was tripping hard.
Oh, that's true. So he's following this white rabbit.
Yeah.
Like we're in some fucking Alice in Wonderland shit right now. And we got the two other bros broing it out. And he comes. Oh, they had barricaded themselves in a room. The dog was chasing them. Rory comes up to the barricade. He's like, can you guys let me in? And they let him in. And this fucking dog is a ninja. because they show him at the end of the hallway, and then when Rory turns around, the dog is gone.
Yes.
And then when the dog comes back, he jumps at him from like the side of the camera, but you never hear his little pitter-pattery feet of a little puppy dog. Well, he's not little. I don't know. It was silly. But like, it was such an anticlimactic thing when the dog finally started biting him.
Yeah.
It was a little silly.
Yeah.
The dog chasing them around in that little gymnasium was pretty great.
Yeah.
And they're jumping around and shit. So Rory gets bitten and hurt. What happens to Malkovich? I know he gets very severely hurt.
During the accident, he got hit and he's internally bleeding.
Yes. Okay.
Brody looks at his bruise and he's like, dude, I've seen that before. You're not going to last. Yeah,
he's not doing good. And Brody uses all of his gymnastics techniques and parkour to escape the evil beast.
There's this really cool scene. He goes to find the key that the guard had. And whenever he goes back to that room, the locker room, he realizes that the dog has dragged the body somewhere else.
Yeah, that was fucking cool. Because it's like, is this a horror movie or what the fuck is this film?
The dog has dragged the body somewhere else, and whenever he's in that room, like, the room is really fucked up because, like, there's a lot of dead dogs in this room.
Oh, man.
It's very well done in that, like, they're practical dogs.
Yes.
Not, like, real dogs, but, like, really well-constructed
real
models.
Dogs were killed in the making of this film. I love how the scary Cujo dog comes out of the corpses, and it's like, what's up? That dog is beautiful, by the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I love how that dog looks. He's so cute. And they just covered him in little blood marks. But I'm like, you're still adorable. I love you.
Yeah. He's like a nice tortoiseshell looking dog.
Yeah. He's like gray and black or something. Really cool looking. Apparently they used 3 different dogs to make this movie.
Oh.
Which I thought was neat. Because they all had like different training skills. And he eventually manages to get that key. And he gets chased for a while. He like goes through a tube. It's like they're going through a fun house. One of my favorites is when he's on the bus.
Yeah.
And he's hiding in the bus first. Then the dog comes in the bus. He jumps onto the roof. And you're like, oh, he's safe. No.
The dog just like fucking jumps through the windshield.
Through the fucking windshield. Lands on the roof of the car. And then jumps onto the roof of the whatever. But I was like, holy shit, this is out of control. Oh, that was fun. I did have fun with the dog chasing him.
Yeah, I did too.
I had less fun at the end with Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas had the most long-winded story, and it was very annoying.
And it was out of nowhere. It just kind of felt like I'm the villain. I have to wax poetically at the end.
So I have to have a dog story too.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Rory's story, we missed this one, but Rory's story is he wanted a dog, and his dad was a drunk and an asshole. And he finds a dog, nurses it back to health.
One of the best stories in the
because
movie.
its leg is broken.
Oh, it was so sad.
But doesn't do it in a good way. He just kind of does it on his own, like a little 5-year-old would know how to do. So the dog.
Well, yeah, because he thinks if he tries to get help from anybody, his dad is gonna get rid of the dog.
Yeah.
So
he nurses it back to health, and he makes a point to say like the dog is always happy to see me, and like the dog really gets attached to him. But then one day, his dad finds out because he stole the ground beef from the fridge, and he buried the evidence, but the chickens dug it up. Yeah. So dad goes into the shed and then like murders the dog in front of the kid.
Yeah,
it is
Jesus.
Awful.
Like only a movie could.
Yeah.
I've only heard of a story like this where like an evil dad like kills a dog in front of their son in a film.
Yeah.
I hope to God it probably happens in real life, but Jesus Christ, it's the most extreme thing you could possibly do. Maybe that happens more in like farm life. I don't know. Blech. But yeah, it was a very sad story, and it was believable that old Rory Bory was crying his face off. I just did not expect him to go into another room and overdose himself to death. Like when they cut back to him, I just thought he had like passed out or something from doing his drug or whatever it was. But like, no, he's dead.
Yeah.
Goodbye from story. And I liked how all the characters died from something else besides the dog.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
But this movie still felt like a horror movie, though. It was weird. It's a weird body count. So then we got, like we were saying, Malkovich is like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And Brody eventually brings the key to him. And then we have a fake out scene where we think, is Malkovich dead? He's like, no, I'm all right. And he starts taking him to the vehicle that they're going to try to drive away with. And I'm like, well, we got a lot of movie left, so something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's when Antonio Banderas shows up.
Yeah, because you've only seen him a couple times in the film, and you're like, is he part of this at all?
He's there was like 6 dog flashbacks we're not talking about, and he's in every single one of them.
Yes.
And it's kind of weird to have a character that's only in flashback, and then he finally shows up at the end. This is just a weirdly done movie. But Malkovich like shields Brody from the bullets like he's a superhero. Yeah. And he's like, you get something worth fighting for. You gotta go back to your girlfriend who you left 5 years ago.
And it's significant to mention that Malkovich has said at the twice in the movie or something where he's like, there's only 3 kinds of last jobs: the one where you die, the one where you are set for life, and the one where you just get away.
And a hand job, yeah. But yes, you are correct. Those are the 4 jobs.
What's the rim job?
That's like basketball term. That's a basketball term, right?
Well, so, okay. What do you call...
Here we go. Dad joke alert.
Yeah. What do you call a heist movie that's predicated upon stealing cocaine?
I'm not sure, Dan. What do you call a heist movie?
Blowjob.
Hey, Dan, that's a really funny story. That reminds me of a true story that happened to me. When I was a young boy, I was, kind of picked on, and then I came across a dog. And I became good friends with this dog, and I brought it to school one day for show and tell, and then magically, I realized that the dog can play basketball. Because our rules are really loosey-goosey, he joined the NBA. And now my dog plays basketball. His name's Airbud. Anyways.
Oh, shit.
He kind of upstaged me, actually, now that I think about it. Like, the dog's doing way better than I am. But, I own him, so I get all his biscuits.
God, you don't even know,
my tummy. Man. Anyways. So, old Malky Wowky gets shot up a bunch, and then we have this long scene of Antonio Banderas. He's got this,
talking, pontificating, if you will, about this boring ass... Yeah, missing. He doesn't know how to shoot a gun. So, number 1, Antonio Banderas, go to target practice.
Yeah, get some training.
I don't know. I feel like this scene... The canoe scene. We'll call it the canoe scene.
Yes, it is the titular canoe scene. It's why everyone sees the film.
It's why everyone calls...
Very controversial.
It's why everybody calls this film Canoe Head.
Yes, it is. Yep, that was the working title. Yeah. But then they realize, well, what does Antonio Banderas do to the canoes?
He throws bullets in them.
He puts bullets into them, so bullet head.
Antonio Banderas' story is about... Well, first of all, it's oddly punctuated where... Okay... This is the one thing that I really took notes on, because what the fuck is the point of this?
Finally, Dan is going to do some analysis on the film.
No. I'm not even doing analysis on the film. It's just like, if you break this scene down, it's the stupidest scene in the world. Because how he does this is he tells a little bit of his dog story and then shoots his canoe where Adrien Brody might be hiding. And if he shoots and kills Adrien Brody,
he doesn't need to
talk about the story anymore. But he continues to tell the story as he misses each time, as if like he knows that he's not hitting him. I don't know how that works. So Antonio Banderas' story is like
under any of the canoes.
He was. He was under the last one, but there was a little hole in it. That's why he saw the rabbit.
Oh, okay.
Follow the rabbit. Anyway. Antonio Banderas' story is something like what?
Oh, I remember. So he's a little boy. There's a dog, next door neighbor dog, that would attack his mom's petunias or something. I don't know. Not a euphemism. And
I wish it was.
The dog kept coming into our garden and attacking it, and they kept telling the owner, rocket. God damn it. To the moon. They kept telling the owner, please control your dog because your dog keeps going into our garden, and the dog would do it over and over again. And the fake out was, he's like, and then I killed the owner, not the dog, because it's the owner's fault. The dog doesn't know what private property is, but the owner does. So it is man's fault. That dog is so evil. So that was kind of...
But let's be real.
Yeah,
Both man and dog know what petunias are.
Gee. Yeah. So that's the whole story. And then if you didn't get that, later on, so Adrien Brody's running away. He ends up in the dogfighting ring. He gets shot. I don't know how Antonio Banderas knows he's there.
I don't know either.
He somehow figures that out. I have no idea. He shoots him like off camera, puts some bullets in his gut. He's worse off than Malkovich, but he lives at the end of this. Instead of just killing him and taking his money, he talks about the moral of the story he had taught him earlier. He's like, well, if you didn't get it before, here's what was going on in that story earlier. You so rudely left while I was explaining it to you. I'd like to think that Antonio Banderas was just telling a story to three canoes, and then Adrien Brody was never there to begin with.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, if the hole was there, like, he could have ran away very early.
Yeah, I know. So good. Oh, we forgot to mention that Adrien Brody saves the dog, because we've forgotten about the dog.
Yes.
This whole time. There's a point where the dog is chasing him, and Adrien Brody saves the dog because a piano falls on him. This sounds like a fucking cartoon.
It really does.
And Adrien Brody decides to save the dog that's been trying to kill him and his friends the entire film, which is insane now that I think about it. It's the most insane thing you could do. But thank God this dog is sentient. And he saves the dog, and he's like, are we cool, bro? Like, Keanu Reeves him, and the dog's like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool, dog. Yeah. And then the dog just walks off. So how did you feel about that? Like, were you okay with the dog having a human brain? Because I was kind of okay with it.
I mean, I was.
The logic is so flawed, but it was so silly.
I don't know. I feel like I'm more upset by the fact that the dog is superhuman, but whenever a piano falls on him, not even...
That stops him?
Yeah, like, I mean, pianos are heavy, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like it was...
If you've seen the things that this dog can do,
yeah,
you would not be worried about him being under a piano. Be like, nah, he'll be fine. He's going to explode out of this shit. So, old Puppers shows up and confronts Antonio Banderas. And he's like, oh, puppy, come here, I love you. And he's going to shoot it in the head. And then the dog basically rips his throat out. The dog is shot like 4 times.
Yeah.
And still has enough time to turn to Adrien Brody and just be like, follow your dreams, bro. And like give him a thumbs up, you know? And I'm like, whoa, dude. And then it cuts away. We're assuming that that dog is dead or ascended to godhood somehow. Just as the god of war, because he is unstoppable. Up there with Kratos. And then we get this nice little scene of it's Adrien Brody walking on the beach towards his girlfriend who's been waiting for 5 years
on the same
for
beach.
for him to come back to him. She hasn't moved on for 5 years. That was the big, because like they're trying to build this thing up with Adrien Brody that maybe he could have a life.
Well, I mean, I feel
outside
like
of...
this is the most poignant part of the film, like in terms of artistry, because you know
It's
we
nice.
have the fact that she hasn't moved for 5 years, and he really put a lot of effort into the realism of that scene, and you can see mounds and mounds of shit that's just been there with fast food wrappers everywhere.
I mean, the tide has washed away some of it, but those stains. You think she'd take a bath in that ocean or something.
I know. Well, I mean, I'm sure she does. She just kind of sits there. She orders pizza and just shits on the beach. I just thought it was really interesting how they decided to include that detail.
She had a pizza box for it right on the beach there. It washes away every week. But yeah. And I thought that whole scene of like Adrien Brody is a dog that can learn new tricks. You know, like he can change. I get that. But 5 years he waited, and this girl is like, yeah, totally. And he like brings a puppy to her. And what's good is that we don't get to see them actually meeting. It just cuts away. As soon as it shows him walking on the beach towards her with the small puppy, it's over. And I'm like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan, what do you think? Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Again, impressive amounts of super dog, I guess. Like,
Oh, yeah.
just everything that's about it, dog-wise, was really the most thrilling aspect of it, and everything else was just kind of boring. And the stories were cool. or at least Rory's was cool.
Yeah, it felt like this was almost like an anthology
Yeah.
of like little short stories. It's bizarre. You're still middle of the road?
I'm still middle of the road. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
if anything, I don't like it as much anymore because I completely forgot about that Antonio Banderas scene that pissed me off that made no sense.
Yeah. This movie it's uneven and it's got some problems, but I still found enjoyment in it. And there was, it's like an emotional roller coaster. You really go all over the place. But I did feel like a lot of the times when they were trying to hit home on something, it worked for me. But if you're a dog lover, this movie would be hard to watch because of how brutal and fucked up some of the dog scenes are. Even though they don't show a lot of things, I don't know. It's still kind of rough. So I'm not sure who this movie is for, other than like actual people who do dog fighting. They're like, wait a minute.
Right.
I've learned the error of my ways. Dan, I believe you have another film to assign us
Yes,
for
I do.
review?
Yes. So you're going to be given a choice
Oh, fuck.
of genre.
Okay. Dogs.
And within that genre, you may you may have more than one choice.
Which one has a dog in it?
Do you want a movie that's batshit crazy or one that we might be able to take seriously?
I want to go to Crazy Town.
Okay. Do you want foreign crazy, like Detective D crazy, or
Okay.
sci-fi crazy?
Dan, I want to go to Crazy Town.
Okay. We are going to be watching Legend of the Naga Pearls. A petty thief teams up with two bickering accomplices to safeguard a powerful relic and save humankind from a tribe of vengeful winged humanoids. And apparently one of the characters farts a lot.
The fuck?
Can a punk with a flatulent pangolin sidekick clip evil's wings?
Aren't the Naga or whatever, aren't those like
Snakes?
snake people? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are they birds?
Because they got him confused with Tengu?
Holy shit. Dude, is this Romance of the Three Kingdoms on acid?
That's what it looks like.
Oh.
This movie's gonna be fucking crazy.
This movie looks out of control. Dude, we got another Detective D on our hands, man. Let's go.
Oh, man.
It's gonna be fun. Did we ever do the sequel?
No, we didn't.
What
Because
the
I kept
fuck is
teasing
wrong
it,
with
and then
this?
it went off too soon.
Oh, it's not there anymore?
Yeah.
Dude, we gotta do research on that shit. Yeah, that seems fun. Let's get fucking crazy and see little demon people attack each other. I'm into it. Well, guys, I hope this was something. I love and cherish all of you, and I want you all to turn to your puppy now and stare into its eyes
And slow blink.
and teach that dog the new trick of slowly blinking. And maybe one day you'll have a great puppy story like us and graduate to a podcast where you can talk about it in front of tens of people. Hope this was something. Dan, you have the final word.
I can't believe that I completely forgot about this awesome dog story I had. But this one time I owned a dog, and he smoked weed one time, and he started selling a lot of cool rap albums, and he changed into a lion at one point.
He's doing a Christian album right now.
Drop it like it's hot.